Imagine a train that never, ever needs to be plugged in or refueled. A train that glides across continents, powered by something we don't yet understand. This was the dream promised by Maxwell Chikumbutso. A vision that defied our very understanding of physics. It was a secret locked away in a high-security vault. Until now. Because the impossible has happened. The blueprint for this self-powered train is out. It's not on a corporate website. It's not in a scientific journal. It has surfaced in the darkest corner of the internet. This is the story of that leak. And how a single digital file is shaking the entire world to its core. Picture the first sketches of this revolutionary machine. An inventor, working in near total secrecy for years. Whispers of his progress were legendary in tech circles. He claimed to have found a new way to harness energy. A principle that could make fossil fuels obsolete. His self-powered train was the ultimate proof of concept. It wasn't just a train, it was a symbol. A symbol of a future free from energy dependence. A future where transportation costs plummet. Where remote communities could be connected without massive infrastructure. The environmental implications were staggering. Zero emissions. Just pure, silent, limitless motion. The development was shrouded in more secrecy than a military black project. Only a handful of people had ever seen the full design. Security was a fortress, both digital and physical. The anticipation in the industry was a palpable force. Everyone was waiting for the big reveal. But that reveal would not happen as planned. It began with a single, cryptic post. Deep in the encrypted layers of the dark web, a user, with a newly created anonymous identity, made a post. The title was simple, yet devastating. The future is free. Attached was a single, massive zip file. Inside were thousands of pages of high-resolution schematics, electrical diagrams, material composites lists, mathematical formulas that looked like they were from another world. It was the complete, unabridged, and fully detailed blueprint for the self-powered train. The digital locks had been picked. The vault was empty. And the world now had the keys. The news did not take long to escape the dark web's confines. It hit mainstream financial news wires within hours. The reaction was instantaneous and brutal. Stock markets went into a frenzy. Shares of major energy companies, from oil giants to renewable startups, plummeted. Transportation and logistics companies saw volatile, unpredictable swings. The market was betting on an uncertain future. A future no longer controlled by corporations or governments. Emergency meetings were called in boardrooms from Silicon Valley to Wall Street. Government agencies, from intelligence to energy departments, went on high alert. Phones rang in the middle of the night. The inventor's company went into immediate lockdown. Their public statement was a masterclass in damage control, but the panic was evident. They confirmed a major security incident involving their proprietary technology. They pleaded with the public not to view or distribute the files. It was a plea that would go largely unheeded. The question on everyone's mind was, how? How did this fortress of intellectual property fall? Speculation ran wild. Was it an inside job? A disgruntled employee offered a king's ransom by a rival? Or perhaps an idealist who believed the technology belonged to all of humanity? Maybe it wasn't a person at all. Perhaps it was a state-sponsored cyber attack. A sophisticated, months-long digital siege by a foreign power. A nation seeking to leapfrog decades of energy research overnight. The digital forensics teams were brought in. They traced, they analyzed, they decrypted logs. But the dark web is designed for obscurity. The trail was cold, littered with false flags and encrypted relays. The leaker was a ghost. Their motive, a mystery. Was it for money? No Bitcoin wallet seemed large enough to hold the payment for this. Was it for ideology? A belief that such a world-changing invention should not be owned by any single entity? Or was it simply an act of technological anarchy? A desire to watch the world burn and rebuild from the ashes? The implications of this leak are too vast to fully comprehend. First, it is a direct assault on the very concept of intellectual property. If an invention of this magnitude can be stolen and published for all, what is the incentive to innovate? Why would a company or a nation invest billions in research and development when the fruits of that labor can be copied and replicated with a click? This leak could chill innovation for a generation. It makes a mockery of patents and international law. It signals that in the digital age, no secret is truly safe. Then, there is the national security angle. This is not just a blueprint for a train. It is a blueprint for a new, potentially limitless energy source. What if a rogue nation builds it first? What if they weaponize the underlying energy principle? Imagine powering a military installation indefinitely off the grid, or creating vehicles that never need a supply line. The balance of global power is inherently tied to energy. This leak has the potential to shatter that balance entirely. Terrorist organizations now have access to technology that could fund their operations. They could build their own autonomous transportation networks. The security briefings in world capitals must be terrifying right now. And then the energy landscape itself. For over a century, the world has been powered by a cycle of digging, burning, and polluting. This technology promised to break that cycle. But its controlled, managed introduction is now impossible. The genie is out of the bottle. Will this lead to a chaotic, unregulated race to build and deploy? Will it accelerate our transition to a clean energy future? Or will it create new, unforeseen problems? Perhaps the underlying physics are unstable. Maybe the materials required are too rare or dangerous. We are now collectively conducting a global, unsupervised experiment. The dark web forums where the blueprint first appeared are a digital pandemonium. We cannot name them, for that would be a roadmap. But they are there, in the shadows, accessible only through specialized browsers. The post quickly became the most viewed and shared item in the history of that hidden network. The comments section is a fascinating and frightening cross-section of humanity. There are engineers, their messages filled with awe and technical jargon. They are verifying the schematics, running simulations in their heads. Their consensus is one of stunned disbelief. The design seems to work in theory. There are anarchists celebrating the fall of a corporate giant. They see this as a victory for the people, a blow against the system. There are profiteers already offering simplified versions and consulting services to build replicas. Their prices are high, and their credibility is zero. And there are the worried voices, the ones who understand the gravity of what has just occurred. They post warnings about stability, about the dangers of unleashing an untested technology. Their comments are often drowned out by the noise of excitement and greed. The motivations of the original leaker are lost in this chaos. Their act, whatever its intent, has taken on a life of its own. It is now a force of nature, a digital hurricane. So, what happens now? The immediate response is a global manhunt. International law enforcement agencies, from Interpol to the FBI, have opened major investigations. Their goal is twofold: find the leaker and track the spread of the files. But the latter is like trying to put a ghost back in a bottle. Once a file is on the internet, it is there forever. On the dark web, it is immortal. The inventor's company is in a race against time. They are likely trying to file new, modified patents. They are scrambling to build a functional prototype before a dozen copycats emerge. Their entire business strategy has shifted from controlled launch to damage mitigation. Governments are enacting emergency protocols. They are likely classifying the technology itself. Possessing or attempting to build from the blueprints may soon become a criminal offense in many countries. A new kind of arms race has begun, but it's a race to contain, not to acquire. This presents us with a profound ethical dilemma. Is this leak the worst thing that could have happened? Or is it, in a twisted way, a form of liberation? For the first time in history, a potentially world-saving technology is not held by a patent office. It is not the property of a billionaire or a corporation. It belongs to anyone with an internet connection and the courage to look. This could democratize energy in a way we never thought possible. A village in a developing nation could, in theory, build its own transportation system. They could leapfrog the need for expensive electrical grids and fuel imports. The knowledge is free. But is it safe? Is it right? Should this knowledge be contained by any means necessary? Or has the leak, by its very nature, made that question irrelevant? We, as a global society, are now at a crossroads. We are all witnesses to this unprecedented event. This is our technological Wild West. There are no laws here. There are no rules. There is only knowledge and the power that comes with it. What role do we play? We are the citizens who will live in the world this leak creates. We must demand transparency from our governments about the risks. We must engage in a sober, global conversation about the ethics of such powerful technologies. We must support the responsible innovators, the true scientists who work in the light. We must be vigilant against the dangers of unregulated and potentially destabilizing inventions. The story of Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered train is no longer just about a train. It is a cautionary tale. It is a thriller. It is a mystery. It is a mirror held up to our digital world, reflecting both our incredible potential and our profound vulnerability. The blueprint is out. The future is no longer a secret. The question is, what are we going to do with it?